Metabolic V2. This is a super safe and effective natural anabolic. Not only is this product going to help you increase protein synthesis, which basically means muscle recovery and growth, it also may inhibit myostatin, which is a protein in your body that is known to inhibit muscle growth. This is a complete natural anabolic that works through multiple different pathways, has multiple trademarked ingredients. If you are a natural athlete looking for that edge, Corbolic V2 is what you need. Get yourself some.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Pro Physique Code, and today I'm interviewing Kate Taylor, who was our female champion for the challenge, the last 90-day challenge. How are you, Kate?
All is well here. Thanks. Yeah, how are you?
I'm really good. I mean, it's been a couple weeks, so I think first things first, how have you been since the challenge ended? How's it been going?
Yeah, I deliberately postponed some vacations and some other things I was supposed to do until after. So I've had a really nice break and just been taking some time out, traveling, spending time with family, friends, lots of birthday parties and things like that. So it's been kind of a cruisy few weeks. And then, yeah, today I'm actually starting back with the coach I had during the challenge. And I've just signed on to do some regular kind of maintenance coaching with her. So I'm
Yeah,
back at it as of today and ready to, it's been a nice break.
yeah.
And now I'm ready to get back to it. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the specifics. So how old are you, Kate?
I'm 43.
43, and what kind of got you interested in doing the challenge? Was this your first time doing it?
This is the first time doing your challenge. I remember months ago watching some videos with past winners, and I heard you talking about the on bodybuilding.com, how they used to do these awesome challenges. And years ago, I had joined some of those, and they were highly motivating, and I got really great results. And then I don't even know what's happened with that company. It seems like they've just sort of dissolved or something.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And yeah, I just recognized that I needed a goal and some sort of like community aspect to keep me motivated to get things back in check. I've mostly been quite fit my whole life. And then now I'm in this new phase of like blended family and things like that. And so prioritizing my own health and my own goals has sort of fallen by the wayside, and things weren't feeling very good. And so yeah, I just needed something to get me hooked and to stick with it for a while and get things back on track. So that's why I joined.
Perfect. Well, let's talk a little bit about the overall transformation. So, what was obviously the pictures, the before and after are quite striking, but what was the actual weight change?
Um, from beginning to end, it was 34 pounds.
I mean, 34 pounds in 90 days or 12 weeks. So you're looking at almost 2 to 3 pounds a week. So, what was your lifestyle like before that? Would you thought it was bad, or had you just accumulated more body fat than you cared to have?
Um, Was it bad? Well, it wasn't great. I think I'm somebody I've been quite active my whole life, and I've been able to kind of eat whatever I want, and just because I've been so active, that's always sort of kept things in check. But I noticed that over the last few years, I've been eating whatever I want, but not keeping up with the activity, and so
Yeah.
that's resulted
Yeah.
in a pretty dramatic accumulation of body fat and probably losing a little bit of muscle mass too, just having not kept up with heavy resistance training and things like that. So what happened?
Yeah, I think that sounds very familiar. I think when I think back to when I had gotten heavier, it was when I got an office job and I could afford better food, and all of a sudden I wasn't as active, eating better food, going out drinking a couple nights a week with my friends, and then saw a picture of myself and thought, I don't like that person. Um, so let's talk a little bit about your approach specifically. You said you had a coach, so I'm assuming you didn't use the nutrition and meal plans that we provided or the training plans. You had someone providing that for you.
Well, yeah, through one of your coaches. Christina was my coach through the whole process. And she understood that I have a pretty good baseline, like understanding macros and things like that. And
Yeah.
so she just set my macro targets for me every week. Um, and so, and then beyond that, she was like, I don't really care what it is, just let's keep it really simple. Like you could get
Yeah.
really deep on like timing of when you're eating this and that, but at least to start, let's just keep it really basic. Especially considering I was sort of going from not doing anything, like not working out, not walking enough, not eating well. She didn't want to bombard me with too many things and like just hit these targets. And then that was pretty much it with her. And then, of course, the weekly check-ins for some accountability. And yeah, we adjusted some things along the way a little bit, but not much, to be honest. And yeah, yeah.
So what did you use as far as calories to start? Do you know? Because a lot of people like to know, okay, where did my calories start? Where did they end?
So I think she had me start at something that was closer to like 1750. And one thing I did try to do, even though she was like taking sort of an if it fits your macros approach, like whatever you want, just as long as you're hitting those numbers, I did try to eat way more whole foods.
Yeah.
Um, and as a result, plus lots of water, and I was just getting so much more protein than I've had in a long time, and tons of fiber, and all these like great things that I could just never get there. I was so full.
Hmm.
So my first few weeks, she was like, "Okay, but I would like for you to like really try and hit those numbers."
So give me an example, like what, like if you're supposed to be hitting 1750 calories, were you getting like 1600, 1500, or were you
I
just,
think like 1500.
okay,
And she was like, okay, as long as you're feeling okay. But she's like, I'd like it to be up a little more because then as you lose weight, like you will probably need to bring those calories down. And we just don't really have very much to work with. If you're starting at 1500, like where do you
right,
come down from there? That's not a lot of food. I'm 5'10", like, that's just not a lot to work with. But what actually happened was I stayed at about 1500, 1550 for the entire 3 months, and the
okay,
weight just came off every week, every week, every week. What changed for me was that as I got back into moving and just my fitness just generally improved, I stayed at the same calories, but my movement increased. And so I think that's
okay.
where the deficit came. Yeah.
So let's talk about the movement. Was it intentionally just getting more steps? Did you have a cardio schedule, lifting weights? Like what was the activity?
So my very leisurely dog walks that I already do every morning became way more intentional. Like I I used to kind of cut corners or fool myself into thinking, well, I did a big walk with my dog this morning, but it was pretty lazy. So those walks became more intentional and it was almost an hour every time instead of the like shortcut through the woods back home.
Right.
So those things happen pretty much every day. And then I had big plans to start lifting weights either at my house, I have some free weights, or go to the gym. But my husband and I had huge plans for landscaping at our house this year, and we have a pretty big lot. And so 3 days a week, I work 4 days a week, so I have Wednesdays off and weekends off, were these like epic, epic yard work days. And so I didn't lift a weight once in these whole 3 months. And I would have days where I was like outside by 8 a.m. and working until like it was dark basically. And so those were days when I'd have like 30,000 steps, sometimes more. And in those days, like hauling massive wheelbarrows of green waste and moving trees and digging holes and stuff like that. And that was all I had time for because we were sort of on this time crunch to get things in the ground early this spring. And so those were my workouts. They were kind of like mini CrossFit workouts in a way, like
Yeah.
these functional movements and hauling stuff all over the place. So that's what did it.
It's magic. I've said for many years now, learning that just by walking every day, I've been able to maintain a physique that I couldn't maintain since high school, as far as like low body fat has been a game changer. And whenever someone comes to me and says, "Well, coach, I went to Europe for a week and I didn't track my food and I came home and I weighed less. That European food is so much better for you. And I said, well, was it that or what did you do? Well, we walked everywhere.
Mhm.
Okay. So, yeah, maybe the food was good. Maybe you didn't eat as frequently. Maybe you slept better and walked a bunch, So I think movement it's been in the last couple of years the thing that I have put the most emphasis on because there's only so much value in just stripping calories away, right? You just feel restricted. You feel like you can't eat anything. With movement, you don't really have to worry as much as about eating. So the point of this challenge is to reframe everyone's approach, right? So I don't like it if someone just goes, oh, well, for 90 days, I'm going to do this extreme approach, lose a bunch of weight, win a challenge, and then afterwards gain it back or just go back to a previous lifestyle. So how has your transition into non-competition been?
Um, yeah, I mean, I knew that I was gonna have these few weeks off, and I wasn't in a place with a scale or anything or to weigh myself or my food or anything like that. And I knew that when I got home, the scale number would probably be up a little bit, which it is. And then just even in a week of kind of getting back to basics again, it's like it's dropped right back down to where it was. I also noticed in these few weeks off, I was, even though I don't know exactly how much protein I was getting, I was deliberately making choices while I was out for dinner or for any meals for that matter to eat something that I knew would be higher in protein and getting some vegetables in there so I felt full and satisfied. I think previously I've had that kind of all or nothing mentality where I'm like, well, I've blown it, so I might as well blow the whole day and therefore like the whole week. Whereas over the last few weeks, I really thought about that and I was like, yeah, okay, I just had a big meal and I had a gigantic piece of birthday cake with my friend and I don't need to have a second one or a third one or all these other things. So I guess I've sort of shifted into, at least for these last few weeks, I don't know what you would call it, like more mindfulness based eating or
Yeah,
something like that, where I'm aware of what I'm doing. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing to have a drink today. I'm choosing to have this dessert. And I'm choosing also to not like blow the whole day. And so that's why the scale number didn't like blow up when I got back from this vacation. It was up a little bit and it's come right back down. And yeah, I think that's a great place to be. It's not an all or nothing thing for me at the moment. It's like, it's definitely more of a lifestyle thing and sort of sustainable changes. Yeah.
that's awesome. That, for me, that's the goal is for everybody to have the tools to be able to do things themselves. We don't need a coach forever. We don't need a plan forever. And it's very normal to eat more one day and eat less the next. Just, you'll sometimes even be less hungry. Or like some days, if you just get busy and you don't eat enough, the next day you'll be hungrier and you'll eat a little bit more. So our body has a self-regulation system. I think it just gets harder with the availability of food and the pressure to eat food, and then just not having the knowledge around like what you should and shouldn't be doing. That's the one thing when people tell me like, oh, I don't know if I could do that tracking. And I was like, well, that's just a temporary phase. Once you've tracked for a while, it recalibrates how you look at food. You don't look at food as good or bad. You go, oh, this is about this much. I can have about this much, right? So it's just a much different approach than saying like, okay, for the next 90 days, I can't have cookies or alcohol or ice cream or all I can eat is chicken and broccoli. That reframes your whole way of thinking to think, I can't wait for this diet to be over so I can have cookies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's next for you now that you've undertaken this?
Right. Well, um, I've signed back up for some coaching with Christina just because my goals now are definitely different than they were for
Yeah,
the challenge. I'm 43 now. I realize that I've got a few years left before my hormones do some funny like flatlining things. So I'd like to spend some time building as much muscle as I can and seeing if I can move the needle a little bit on bone density. I don't even know
yeah,
how much I can do. I know, and I just know that that's a much slower process and a much longer process. And I think the things that will build up my muscle mass will also help with bone density. So
sure.
um, so yeah, I'm going to work with her to get on a good path with that and make that my focus for the next while, like
Yeah.
years maybe. And yeah, so I'm excited for that. I've also always been somebody who's worked out at a gym, and I've always lived in big cities, and now I'm in this small town, and there's a community center gym. I don't love it. So I'm going to need some support building this habit of figuring out how I can do some good resistance training with dumbbells and things like that, or kettlebells at home, and establishing like a home workout kind of routine. That's new for me, and I think it could take a little while to start to love that. So I'm looking forward to having some accountability and some help just figuring out this new habit.
Yeah. Now, did you participate in the private community? Were you in there chatting or were you a lurker?
I was a little bit of a lurker. I've never really had social media, so it's like pretty foreign to me to be posting stuff. That's just not
Yeah.
really in my world. But I did sort of tune into some things here and there. And that was really nice. But I definitely like leaned into my coach and did the things
Yeah.
that she needed, and she was super supportive and yeah, I really loved working with her. She wasn't just like here are your numbers, do this, congrats, you did it or whatever. Like she would really listen to when life stuff started kind of coming at me, and
Yeah.
she was so attentive and really focused on like, okay, this is what this maybe this week, just don't worry about working out, shorter walks, more sleep, and like can you just please eat some more carbs, and that will help, and that will help with your mood to sort of like ride out this like stressful thing that's happening in your life.
Yeah.
So I leaned into her more than anything, and I think that was really the game changer for me because I've definitely started challenges and just sort of fallen off the rails after, I don't know, 3 weeks, whatever it takes
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
most people to sort of drop off. But because I'd sort of committed to her and she was really committed to me, that was the big push for me, the extra coaching.
Yeah, I think the 90-day challenge is what people they hear 90 days and they think that's not that long. But once you get to like 3 weeks in and you realize there's still 9 weeks left, you go, oh man, this is a long challenge. So I always say the middle phase is how you determine your success because everyone's excited at the beginning, at the end. It's how do you handle those middle 6 weeks that's really going to push your physique to the next level. So, well, I mean, obviously, you've already kind of shouted out Christine, but is there anything else that you think contributed or anyone else that like helped through this process?
Yeah, my husband was like a huge part of the reason why this all went so well. Yeah, he didn't join the challenge officially. I kind of just sprung it on him like the night before. I was like, "Hey, I signed up for this thing like last night. I'm gonna do it." And he was like, "Whoa, okay. How can I help you?" And so he didn't do all the exact same things I did, but he also lost, I think it was like 25 pounds. So that
I
was
do wait.
cool. And yeah, I think that if he was still eating how he and I were both eating leading up to the start of this challenge. Like, I don't know, I probably would have been derailed. And so he just sort of did it with me as best he could. He would still have beers with the neighbors at the end of a long day of gardening, but he would go over to the neighbor's house and have a couple beers over there. So it wasn't like right in front of me. But yeah, he was super on board and willing to do anything I needed him to do. And sometimes he would do some good meal prep for me when I was having long days at work and stuff like that. So I don't
That's
think I
awesome.
could have done it without him. Yeah.
It's really impossible to to kind of quantify how valuable it is when you have somebody that supports you. I coach a lot of people that are almost at opposite spectrums. Their spouse hates that they compete in bodybuilding or doesn't support it or kind of talks down about it. And it creates an environment where even a good week can be a bad week, you know. So it's awesome when that's the case. So yeah, good job, hubby. All right. Well, I think I mean what changed as far as your clothing size? That's always a good one for women. Like what was your clothing sizes?
Oh gosh. yeah, Douglas was like, "Are you gonna go and buy all new clothes now?" I'm like, "I don't have to because all of my old clothes that I haven't been able to
Ah,
wear for like 4 years finally fit." So I'm my my waist is 26 inches, which is pretty awesome for someone who's 5'10". Like that's
yeah.
quite small. So yeah, I'm back into fitting into my like 26-inch, 27-inch jeans, which is feels amazing.
They're new again.
They are. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest thing. I don't really know where where I was.
Sure.
I'm a massage therapist. I wear a lot of like stretchy clothes, but I had been a size medium in leggings forever. And then last summer I was like, wow, these don't fit. So I had to jump up to a large. And then I think the clincher for me to join this challenge was I had a pair of large leggings on and I bent over to pick something up and like the seam down the back like ripped open. I was like, wow, that's not good. So I'm back to like my medium size leggings and they feel a little bit loose. So that's kind of nice.
Not ripping.
Definitely not ripping. I'm not challenging the tensile strength of my stretchy pants anymore. So that feels pretty good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining the challenge. I hope you'll jump in the Facebook group for the new one and just, I think it helps when people struggle or they have questions to hear from people that did the previous challenges. So
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much. And is there anyone else, anything else you want to say or want people to find you? You don't sound like you're too social media.
No, just anyone who's thinking about doing it should just join. It was
Yeah.
really great. It was really fun and I felt really supported and I felt like it was done in a way that just supports healthy habits and not some weird extreme weight
Yeah.
loss challenge
That's
like
it.
super safe and you can't go wrong. So I think everyone should just do it if they're thinking about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kate. I appreciate your time. And if you ever need anything from me, let me know.
Will do. Yeah,
All right. Have a great day.
you too.